I asked you guys about GTA games on a YouTube poll, because who doesn't love democracy? You gave me an answer, so now I guess it's time to go bowling with Roman, and hopefully find some big titties. Grand Theft Auto 4, the GTA franchise equivalent of your significant other's child that they had with another man. You love it because it's a part of the family, but at the same time, you'll never quite have the same connection with it as you do with the other kids that come straight from your testicles. Look, I'm not saying you can't enjoy what comes from another man's testicles. All I'm saying is their child would just be a constant reminder that he ectoplasmed all up in her walls before you were around. I have no idea how we even got to that point, but anyway, meet Nico Bellic, our main protagonist in GTA 4, a man from Serbia who fought in the Yugoslav wars and is now making his way to the promised land of Liberty City. His older cousin Roman, who has already lived here for 10 years, has made a list of promises to him, including, but not limited to,
luxury condo, where's sports car, where's Barbara with big titties and Stephanie who sucks like a vacuum.
Unfortunately, as we find out when we get back to Roman's apartment, the only thing with big titties is the cockroaches, and when he was referring to Stephanie that sucks like a vacuum, he must have just been tripping on a sheet of acid and literally using the vacuum as there's an unusual amount of semen inside it. I begin to tell Roman some of my stories from the war, but clearly he couldn't care less as he just ends up taking a quick nap, which is super rude. First, he doesn't even ask me how the boat trip was, then he ignores me while I'm telling him about the war. Roman's gonna need to start improving those listening skills if he's expecting me to stick around longer than an abusive father. Roman has to get back to work at the cab office, so I decide that tomorrow would be the day that I grab the city by the balls and really see what it has to offer. Ah yes, my favourite place to sleep, a pull-out couch that looks like it was bought from a Craigslist serial killer. So after an atrocious night's sleep, that I'm pretty sure I caught syphilis from due to the state of the mattress, I make my way outside to breathe in that fresh pollution of the city and see what's going on. Naturally, after a long boat ride, I was pretty hungry, so I decided to grab myself a hot dog, but being a Serbian who's not too familiar with this American lingo, turns out it's just a sausage in a bun. $5 for that is a bigger scam than Belle Delphine's OnlyFans. So obviously I start a fight with the hot dog stand owner, but this game, having a great targeting system, then just makes me fight every single one of his customers instead. Outnumbered 3-1, I decide that the time is nigh to steal a car. Unfortunately, there's a police car close by, and well, this is America. I'm Serbian, so obviously they just start unloading fire straight away. Fortunately for me though, they don't end up shooting me, they shoot the hot dog stand owner who was hanging from the window of the car. But he was also not an American, so I guess that's a successful day for these police. I make sure not to do anything else illegal on my way to go and see my boy Roman at the cab office, and upon arrival I get introduced to his girlfriend Mallory, who also works there, and Vlad, a big boy who Roman owed a lot of money to. Vlad then begins uncomfortably flirting with Mallory right in front of Roman, but there is actually a neurological reason for this. If we take a look at Vlad's haircut, we can see that he's exhibiting something called the sexual allegations, which basically just means the only way he can ever get a woman is by intimidating them with his alpha presence. Vlad's low sex appeal and micro penis out the way though, it was time for Roman to make a bit of extra cash for these debts by playing some underground poker. All I had to do was wait outside in the car for Roman and look out for any loan sharks that could possibly be coming for him, which is about as boring as it sounds. So I tried to go down an alleyway for a quick fap as I can't even afford a hooker, but the game tells me I need to stay out on the street. So you know, it wasn't my choice to masturbate on the street while people walk by on the sidewalk, it was the game's choice. However, when I'm close, the loan sharks decide that the time is now for them to pull up and go after Roman. In the panic of the moment, I don't even put my balls back in my boxers and just decide to run them over instead. The game doesn't like this, however, because apparently killing a loan shark will only increase your debt. So, round 2. The loan sharks turn up, wait for Roman to get in the car, and then escape from the loan sharks like a Fast and Furious scene, but with less testosterone, less steroids, and less gay sexual tension. I drop Roman off at the cab office, and then notice this icon on the map, so out of curiosity I drive up to it, and start beeping next to it in hopes that it's a hooker. But to my disappointment, it's not a hooker, it's just a guy on a shitload of cocaine. So it could be a hooker, but just a male version, I guess. At first, he is racist and then standoffish, but after talking to us for about 5 seconds, he completely changes his tone and gives us $100. So if that wholesome bit of content isn't enough to convince you that this is the greatest GTA game ever made, I don't know what is. Being real though, I was a bit too hard on this game in the intro. I do genuinely love it, and replaying it now is just filling me with nostalgia. It's a shame that it didn't quite get what it deserved, and that was as much love as the other GTA games. And I think that's down to the start of the campaign being quite slow and often feeling like a taxi simulator. So it's time for an epic montage sequence to fast track this video to something a bit more interesting than driving a cab for Roman. We saved Roman from some loan sharks by breaking one of their arms, but also hopefully breaking them emotionally too, as I informed them that on Halo 3 I was a 5-star general, so they knew I had unmatched grit and determination, but had also experienced one of the most toxic and emasculating places on the internet. We hit it off with Michelle, Mallory's friend, when we picked them both up as a favour for Roman, although I did get my top tier Slav fashion choices insulted.
You look like you just jumped off the boat, Nico. Handsome man like you should get some new threats.
I think he looks fine the way he is.
I don't think he even changed out of those things on the journey. How you gonna impress a classy girl like Michelle?
I copped some new clothes because deep down what the girls said about my fashion choices actually really got to me. I got some sleep and then decided to ring Michelle at 6:30 in the morning because there's nothing that women like more than a man with initiative. So waking her up at 6:30 in the morning to organise a date is always a guaranteed way to get laid. On my way to that 7 AM date, I then had to pull out, but not in the way I was expecting to. I had to let Michelle down as Roman gave me a call saying that those pesky loan sharks have got him cornered on the basketball court, which is totally not cool. You don't disturb a bro while he's getting in some early morning b-ball. Whether he owes you money or not, the court is sacred and shall not be disrespected. Which is why when I arrived at the court and found Darden, we relentlessly chased him through the streets until he ran out of fuel, and then gave him a stabbing which was admittedly a little over the top, and it becomes increasingly clear that maybe Nico has some post-war trauma which needs to be dealt with. But hey, this was all about sending a message of the sacrosanct of the basketball court. I had to do a few cab fares for Roman, so I ensured that he would receive 5-star reviews by making sure I prioritise customer safety at all times. And we even did a little bit of work from Vlad, making sure that he would keep off Roman's back while he earned the money to pay him back. Although it was kind of ironic as the work we were doing for Vlad was collecting money off people that owed him debts. Here we are then. Finally, our date with Michelle. A little bit later than the 7 AM we originally planned for, but hey, you know how the saying goes, bros before hoes, and my cousin nearly being killed by a loan shark takes priority. Michelle has either got severe OCD, a sugar daddy, or just steals everything that she owns in her apartment as it's all brand new and has the tags on it, but she moved in a few months ago. We then let her know that we'll be taking her to the fun fair, and she gives us a response which is almost a 100% guarantee that we will not be getting laid tonight.
Whoop-de-doo!
A woman saying whoop-de-doo is the #1 method of birth control, that just in front of the #2 method being a Manchester United supporter. Michelle actually lets me drive her car, which is really kind of her, because the car that I pulled up to her apartment in had a missing rear brake light, no windows, a half-attached bumper, no hood, and a little bit of human flesh stuck in the grille. You know, nothing that a mechanic couldn't fix, but I didn't have time nor the money for that right now. Now you may actually be slightly misinformed that when driving a woman, you shouldn't do things like going fast and drift around corners. There's a complete misconception that that will impress them. It won't. They actually get very turned on by you being a safe and considerate driver, which is why when doing 50 going down this road and I can't be bothered to use the brakes, I yell at her and say, hey, it's time for a tuck and roll, because I'm just looking out for her safety and that's all. I just want to make sure she feels as secure as she can with me at all times in the car. It would have been really rude if I had just dived out without letting her know that I was going to dive out. She made it out safely without a scratch, but unfortunately this did leave the car in a precarious position. And once again, me being a considerate man, I didn't want her to get a parking ticket for her car being put there. So I tried to maneuver the thing and do so successfully. But unfortunately during the process of this reversal, I managed to kill Michelle. And look, I'm not going to try and blame it on her or anything, but maybe it wasn't the smartest idea to stand right behind me while I'm reversing. But looking on the bright side, her being dead means that sex is back on the table. So, attempt number 2 at this date, and this time I do actually decide to use the brakes. However, we get more bad news as it turns out the carnival is closed. And well, this is GTA 4, so there's only one thing to do when you get bad news. Go bowling! Once again, another misconception from guys when dating a girl is, when you play a game, you think that you have to go easy on her so she can get a win. This is completely wrong. Play to your absolute best. Be competitive, be in her face, and when you win, make sure you say GG, then begin to trash talk her on the way home. As that's what I did, and well, it seems to have scored me a second date, as Michelle says that she wants to see me again. Getting laid will be the main objective of the next video, but for now, I just want to say a big thank you to those of you who clicked the join button and become a member. A massive thanks as always for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. I just want to give a massive shout out to my motherload Voiy Bois and above, Gerardo Cruz, Wolves of Valhalla, Björn van den Hatter, Charlie Waldock, Ghost Warrior 38, and Voiy is Gay. Thank you so much for your support, guys.